Hi there! If you are watching this video, it means that you're interested in learning a little bit more, possibly volunteering with the PD Green program. Thanks for your interest. This video is just to give you a little bit more information about the DC region and about what being a PD Green volunteer in DC looks like. And since there's a lot of information, I think it's a little bit easier just to give you the information now. And then if you have questions afterward, you can feel free to call me, to email me, and we can chat a little bit more. So to give a little bit of a background on PD Green, the PD Green program is a national nonprofit. DC is actually one of several regions that we're in, so we work in seven different states currently. The DC region is the southernmost region, and at the moment in DC we partner with both George Washington University and also with Howard University. And at the moment, we have 5 facilities, all of which are in Maryland, that we partner with. And we are also piloting a program at a juvenile detention center in Northern Virginia as well. Right now, we have about 45 spots for volunteering, and our volunteering runs on a semester basis that matches university schedules. So we have volunteers in the fall and new volunteer placements in the spring. And this coming summer, during the summer of 2017, we'll also be doing our first summer programs, hopefully, at some of the facilities where we work as well. Even though we run by semesters, it's wonderful when tutors volunteer. We love getting returning volunteers. And at the moment, we are working hard to fill our tutoring spots. So a little bit more information about what it's like to tutor. So all of the students, with the exception of the program that we're piloting, which is with youth, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, all of the students that we're working with are studying to take their GED, or they're in a course to help them prepare to take a practice test for the GED. So they're all working towards getting a high school equivalency. All of the students who we work with take courses, either GED or pre-GED courses, during the day at the facility where they are, and they're being taught by teachers. The role that PD Green fills at those facilities is to be able to provide some additional one-on-one support for people who could use a little bit of extra help. So at some of the facilities where we work, the students who we work with have requested to see PD Green tutors because they'd like some extra help. And at some of the facilities where we work, students have been identified by teachers as needing a little bit of extra help. None of the students that we work with in DC are forced to be at tutoring, but sometimes their teachers are the ones who approach them and offer tutoring with us as an option. Our tutoring looks a couple of different ways, again, depending on which facility tutors are at. At one facility in particular, we use a push-in method, which is that there's a teacher already working and teaching a class in the evening, and our tutors come to that class, and then the teacher will identify who they need to work with and what they need to be working on. So they're sitting in on a class that's already going on. At all of our other facilities, we are using a study hall method. So our students are in class during the mornings, during a different time of the day, and then we have chunks of time either every day of the week or certain days of the week where our tutors are available in a classroom and students come and sit with the tutors. The students are able to tell the tutors what they need to work on and identify what they want to do that day, and then the tutors are able to do whatever the student tells them that they need to work on. At most of our facilities, we also have teachers who coordinate with the tutors or with me or to the tutors through me, just to communicate what they think certain students should be working on. Again, that varies by facility. The GED covers reading, writing, math, science, and social studies. I like to tell people that all of our tutors at some point most likely are going to wind up tutoring in every subject. We don't expect our tutors to be experts in every subject, and we certainly, or any subject. And we'd like to encourage people to tutor, even though it might sound a little intimidating to tutor in something that might not feel comfortable right at the first thought. One of the things that we do offer is a subject brush up at the beginning of the semester, where we all come together with all of the GED materials that we need, and we're able to kind of look at all the different things, all the different topics that you might see, and you're able to kind of have some time to review things that you might not have remembered otherwise. And I also like to tell tutors that even if you don't know something when you're in tutoring, it's actually a really great teaching opportunity and a really great teaching moment to show a student who you're working with how you might approach learning something that you haven't seen before. So to sit down with the book with them and say, I actually don't remember how to do this either, but that's okay. Let's work through it together and figure it out, and then to read through the materials and go through practice questions. I've done that quite a few number of times myself, and it's still a great experience. Some sessions and some teachers and some programs have identified certain subjects that they want to work on. For example, some sessions are exclusively math, some sessions are exclusively science, but the vast majority are all different mixed subjects. In terms of a little bit more logistics about tutoring, the way that tutoring is structured is that we have at least 2 tutors going for every time slot. Tutoring time slots are at the same time, and it's every week, and it's for the duration of the semester. That's the time commitment. The start date really depends on when the facility is able to process clearances and get everyone approved. So at some facilities, that process takes a day, and at some facilities, it can take up to a month. Some facilities have other processes, and they have their own trainings that they need to do with tutors, which I help coordinate with our tutors. So it really varies by facility, but we expect our tutors to be available to tutor during their time slot, starting at the beginning of the semester and ending the last day of class. Any day that the university is closed, we don't have tutoring. So we don't have tutoring during spring break. For example, during Martin Luther King Day, holidays when schools are closed, we don't have tutoring. We do have a 0 unexcused absence policy for tutoring. And what that means is, in terms of an unexcused absence, those would be things like texting me at the morning of to say, hey, I have too much homework to do, I can't come, or if I don't hear from you at all. Of course, we understand that things happen. Life happens. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're really sick. Sometimes you need to leave town very suddenly because something's going on. That's perfectly understandable. We know it happens. But it's really, really important. It's arguably the most important part of our program that our tutors are really able to commit to being at their tutoring session on time every single week. The reason for this is twofold. The first is that the continuation of our program depends on these facilities seeing us as reliable. When they don't see us as reliable, when tutors don't come every week when they're supposed to, it damages our relationship with the facility. And in doing so, it can jeopardize our ability to actually provide this service to the students that we work with, which obviously we don't want. The second reason that attendance is the most important part of our program is that the whole goal of our program is to be able to provide educational support to people who are incarcerated. And when we don't show up, what we're telling the students who we normally work with is, I don't care about your education, I'm not invested in your future, I don't respect your time or your effort. And obviously that's not a message that we want to communicate to the students that we're working with. So we ask that our tutors be really committed to being there on time every week. All of our facilities are a pretty decent drive away from DC. So the way that tutors get to tutoring is as I mentioned, we have at least 2 people go together to every session, sometimes 3, depending on which facility you're at. And 1 tutor in every tutoring session is a driver. So people are not forced to drive. We have people who volunteer to drive. And unless people have a car, what we do is have students sign up either through Howard Zipcar or through GW Zipcar to rent a car every week. PD Green fully reimburses the costs, and that includes the sign-up cost for a Zipcar, which is about $15 or $20. And then every week when a tutor will rent a Zipcar and drive it to and from tutoring with the other students, PD Green will reimburse the amount that it costs to take the Zipcar. We rely really heavily on tutors being able to drive because there's no public transportation to get to the facilities where we work. So it's a good thing to keep in mind if you're kind of on the fence that being able to drive to a session could be the difference between us being able to provide the service at all that day and not being able to. So we love having drivers. There is there are a few other requirements that come with being a tutor. The first is that you have to attend a tutor training. The training lasts about 5 hours, and we cover everything from the history of incarceration and education to what it's like to tutor inside a facility, to different scenarios that you might face that would be different than tutoring in other settings, and different ways to handle them. And then, of course, we also talk about actual tutoring, how to be a good tutor, and we do some practice tutoring as well. So it is required that everyone attend that. If for whatever reason the date that we're doing it isn't a possibility, we try to schedule a tutoring training then with everyone who can't make the original date to do it together. Just because, the training is a bit lengthy, and it's also, I think people get more out of it when we have other people to discuss the issues with, as opposed to just you and I. And then the only other commitment is that we require that our tutors attend 2 events throughout the semester. So at both Howard and GW, we have great groups of campus leaders, and those campus leaders schedule different events throughout the semester for our tutors. So those events could be anything from doing a documentary screening and having a discussion, to having a panel discussion, to attending an event surrounding criminal justice in DC, and they have a handful throughout the semester, and we require that our tutors attend 2 of them. One of those events is one of the things that I mentioned earlier, which is a subject brush up. So right at the beginning of the semester, when we offer this opportunity to be able to review the different subjects on the GED, that actually counts as one of the events for the semester. And that's really the gist of what the logistics are of being a tutor. So you're going at the same time every week to tutor. Sometimes people ask about what the classrooms are like, or what safety is like. Those are common questions that I get. Again, this varies by facility, and it depends where you are. But at the vast majority of our facilities, since the model that we're using is the study hall model that I mentioned earlier, there are no facility staff and no correctional officers in the room with us. In every facility where we work, we're in a classroom or a function room, and most of the time it has bookshelves, motivational posters on the wall. It looks like a classroom, and there's desks and things like that. And we're always nearby whoever we need to be near. So sometimes we're right next door to the education staff, sometimes we're right next door to the correctional officer's booth. It varies. I can say from personal experience that I have never felt unsafe tutoring. I think the reason being that the atmosphere tends to feel very academic. People come to do tutoring, and that's why they're there, and then that's what we do. We've never had any incidents. None of my tutors ever report of feeling unsafe or anything like that. So although it might be just you and another tutor in a room with the students who you're working with, it's usually a very relaxed experience. We have a really high return rate for our tutors. They really love the experience. It's definitely a unique experience getting to work inside a correctional facility. Not a lot of people get that opportunity. And it's also a really unique opportunity to provide a desperately needed service to a population who is really unseen, and who are lacking in a lot of services that they need. So it's really, really neat. It's a wonderful experience to be able to tutor someone, to help them obtain their GED, to help them make steps toward whatever their goal might be for the future. It's been very rewarding for me personally as the regional manager of the program, and also during my own time as a PD Green tutor. And overall, the experience of being a tutor is wonderful. So if you would like to volunteer with us, and I hope that you would, there's a couple things that you can do. The first is you can go check out our website. So it's www.pdgreen.org. And if you click volunteer on the top right-hand side and then click on our region, DC, Maryland, you can read a little bit more detail about all of the different facilities where we work and what the differences are between those facilities. And then there's also a map of where the facilities are located, and there is a chart of the different time slots that are available for that facility, so you can kind of check out what times might be available. If it looks like none of the times listed work for you, please still get in touch with me and let me know. We always have new partnerships evolving, new opportunities changing, so you never know, there might actually be an opportunity for you even if it's not listed up there. The next thing that you would do, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of that page is to click volunteer. You can apply there. The application's really quick and easy to submit. And after that, you will be getting an email from me to ask you about availability and some other questions, and we would move forward. Being a PD Green volunteer is a really wonderful experience, and I really hope you'll join us. Thank you.